everybody, welcome back to the channel and welcome back to our continued playthrough of Tainted Grail, the Fall of Avalon, where we're going to do a quick recap of what's happened with our characters, and then we're going to get right into it. We're in a pretty interesting spot right now where I think some dramatic changes are about to happen, and we're going to find out what those are. So let's get right into it and get on with our recap of the most recent events. So it was a really tough plight for Aaliyah. She had had a horrible incident in the island asylum where she was attacked by a couple of creatures and gained something called the Red Mark. When the priests of the island realized that she had the mark, a sign of the plague, they imprisoned her. She was severely wounded and been badly beaten. She escaped only to find herself confronted as she fled by a pike-wielding brigand on the road. She did get away from him, though it cost her. She was quite wounded and injured when she finally arrived at the Charred Conclave to meet her friends, Erev and Beor, who had come to help her. While there, she healed up. They gave her some food and continued on their way, with Erev deciding to go check out the Grubwood, which he found out was haunted by the spirit of some female hooded figure. And also haunts their dreams, something that haunts your dreams there, makes it hard for you to sleep. He did manage to cook some of the grubs, giant maggots, into food, which cost him a little terror, but he recovered that quickly. It bothered him to do it, but he did. Meanwhile, Beor had traveled up to the Four Dwellers Mounds, and using his powerful mystic hammer called the Old Steel Shatterer, he broke into a tomb where he investigated. And even though he didn't come out with any good items, he did come out with the understanding of the rights to erect a new menhir. That's good, because the menhir in Kunakt village is dying and about to fade out. Very, very close to. In fact, it's on its last leg at this point in time as we head into the next chapter of this story. Now, Arev, Beor, and Aaliyah have made their way up to the Whitening, where they know they can resurrect another menhir, and that's what's about to happen. So that ends our quick recap. If you are interested, you can go back and watch the other episodes. This is quite a few in, but there's a lot going on in the game. So let's get started now. We had finished our end of day phase. Everybody's rested, ready to go, and we're about to take on the resurrection of a new menhir. So let's get that done. Here we are at our start of the day phase, and this is what we have to do. First off, we have to remove any expired menhirs, but we don't have one yet. Then it says reduce all time tokens on menhirs and remove time tokens. Well, this one is being removed right now. We were at 1, and that's all there is left, so that time token is removed. That means this is the final day of the menhir in Kunakt village. We're then going to reveal the next event card. We're about to do that right now, so let's get that out and take a look at what the next event card will bring. Okay, we're at Chapter 1, Part 4. What do we get? It says, Dying of the Light. Check the menhir. If there's an active menhir in Kunakt, put this card back on top of the event deck. Well, there is, actually. Otherwise, read on. The weirdness is coming. Okay, well, we know that this is going... We're not going to read this because this is going back on top of the event deck. Yeah. Okay, we'll see how this goes. We'll see how this plays out. We're about to finish the quest, I think, though. So our event really didn't do much and has brought us to continue. So we revealed our event card. We would then move guardians and pick items or secrets, but we really don't have to do that. And the only one that's at any risk, really, is good old Aaliyah, because she has this card, the red sign, and I'm sure it's going to take its toll on her at some point. But now let's get into the during the day phase. All right, we're about to take our actions for the day. Now, they are in a party up here at the Whitening. Let's take a look at that, because we're going to do something that's specifically related to this. We're going to activate a menhir. Now, if you look on the location action, there is a inspect a Menhir, so we can do that, but we can also activate it, and that's what we're going to do. So we spend 0 to inspect the Menhir, but there's also 0 to activate the Menhir. However, it requires a number of things. It requires all characters and the Menhir rights. We have all that. Secret card. That is being held. The Menhir rights is being held by Bior right now. You can now activate Menhirs. The cost of this action can be found at the back of each of the locations. So we are going to activate this Menhir. It says required rights: pay 3 energy, 1 health, 1 wealth, and 1 magic per player. Now, when you're in a party, you can exchange these things. They don't all have to come from the same player, except for the health, rather. Well, I have to do it 3 times. It actually, I don't understand. It's not clear whether or not each character has to do that, as long as the requirement is met. Put a new Menhir model on a location and set it down to 9 minus 1 per player. So it's going to be a 6 rather, when it comes out into play. Let's take a look at that and pay the costs now. First off, this is going to cost 3 energy. 1, 2, 3 from Bior. Let's see. 1, 2, 3 from Aliyah, and you can't see it, but it's going to be 1, 2, 3 from Arev. Okay. Then we have to spend a health. So everybody's going to lose a health. I assume that's something that each character will have to do. That's fine, because we'll heal it back up. In other words, they made a blood sacrifice to raise the power of this Menhir. Then we have to pay 1 wealth per player. Well, each of them have a wealth to give, so we'll just each give a wealth from each of the characters. And then we have to pay 1 magic. Well, Bior's got 4. He's going to be the one to pay all 3 of the magic for each of the characters. And that satisfies the requirements for this Menhir. And here it is, the new Menhir that will go out. Look at this beautiful, beautiful miniature. And it'll start on 9 minus the number of players. So that'll be a 6 if I can get it in there right. And that'll take place in the Whitening. So we have a Menhir up in the Whitening. And that will actually satisfy this quest. So we have to take a look at this very quickly. Activate, the quest is activate a Menhir in one of the nearby. We activate it in the Whitening. Success: when you have activated one of these Menhirs, resolve Chapter 1, Part 6 card of the event deck. So we're going to, there's only 2 left. There's 4 and 6, because we've already resolved 5. So let's take number 6 out. It says end. Congratulations, you've completed the first chapter of the Fall of Avalon campaign. Each character gains 2 experience and 1 magic. Each character gains 1 free combat deck advancement. See character advancement. Discard your event deck. Place any discarded random event cards back in the random event deck and shuffle that deck. Then either save your game or draw a Chapter 2 setup card and follow the instructions for the next chapter. Okay, well, let's take care of the rewards right now. So we are successful, just in the nick of time. Okay, so I'm going to take these red cubes back from Aliyah. She's got 5 reputation, and I'm going to use the purple cubes are 5s. So I'm going to put a purple cube in Leah's reputation so I get to have all the red cubes back. So what do we have to do? I mean, I didn't have to do that. It's just conserving some space. We are going to give everybody 2 experience. So Bior has 4 now. That's good, because that's going to allow us to do something. Aliyah has 2, and Arev has 2. Additionally, we're going to gain 1 magic each. So that means Bior is up to 2, Aliyah's got 1, and Arev has 2. And I believe we gain 1 additional card advancement. So we'll start with Bior up here. I think that he's going to take another combat advancement. And what we're going to do is, I've shuffled this, but I'll just do a quick cut. We'll draw 1, 2, 3 combat cards out of his advancement deck. Pick one and put the other ones back. We got Feint, Find Weakness, and Intimidate. Intimidate allows us to gain a red cube for each point of your aggression when fighting a gray encounter. Okay, it's not bad. Find Weakness. We're going to take 1 more hit, but we're going to draw a card. And it does it times 3, so whatever's next would be pretty devastating. Like that would be 3 hits. Or we can do Feint. For every wound you would lose, for every one you would lose, you gain 1 instead. I like that card. I think we'll take Feint. That is going to go onto his combat deck, and then we will put his advancement deck back And we'll shuffle that up again. Okay. That is Bior. Now we're going to do the same thing. Aaliyah, I'm debating, we haven't enhanced their diplomacy deck, so we haven't had to do much with that. She's not really the best fighter, so why don't we make her a good diplomat? We're going to take an advancement from her diplomacy pool. See what that looks like for a change, because we haven't had to do much of that. Assuming we will as time goes on. What do we have? We have... okay, they're not in order. Okay, we have Augury, which, wow, lots of advancement. It says immediately for each, whatever that is, for each of this card. Okay, that might be good. Augury, Signs and Omens, give us some good benefits there, plus draw 2 cards or immediately go to the end of turn phase. And Wildflower Scent, that gives us, and if affinity is green, we go up immediately. We get a couple of events there. Oh, it's one of these two here for sure. I think we're going to do the Signs and Omens. So we're going to take that and put that on her her diplomacy deck. Then we're going to put these back. Just do a quick shuffle of those. Boom, that's her advancement. And then with Arev, we're going to advance his combat deck again because we get to do it for free. So we're going to take, now I may go in and edit their decks, I'm not sure. I haven't seen a need for it yet. I think all their cards are useful enough, but here's what he's got. Reaping, remove all charges from all sowing cards, but we don't have any sowing cards. Maybe this is one. Wait, that doesn't belong in there. We draw another one. I had one of Maggot's cards, we'll have to get rid of that. So he's got Faint, this is similar to the other one, and Charge. Charge is, it's not bad. Faint and Reaping. I got another Reaping card. I just don't have any of the Sow cards, right? So I think I do like this Faint one. I like that. I think we're going to give him that in his combat deck as well. We're going to shuffle the rest of these up, and I will put that card of Maggot's back where it belongs. I don't know how that got in there. Well, I do. They were all, some of them were mixed up when I got them. I just to separate them out. Okay. That is the end of that. By the way, yeah, this was Maggot's card, so we'll go put that in the stuff for Maggot, which is just stowed away right now. So that ends this chapter. It says discard your event deck. Okay, so all the event cards for chapter 1 are going to go away, and we have to look for the ones that were the. Let's see, we'll have to look for the ones that were these ones that were random events. All these ones go back. This was the setup for chapter 1. So we'll put all this back here. That will go away because we're going to look at chapter 2 now. And these will go back into the random event deck. So we paused. We got our first event. I'm going to take care of some of this off camera, and we'll come back with the next. We're going to set up for the next chapter. Okay, here we are at chapter 2 setup. It says prepare the event deck. Find all parts of chapter 2 and stack them from 3 bottom to 1 top. I have found that. Here is 1, 2, and 3 right here. So we'll just put them right there. Then it says now follow the instructions on the back of the card. Create an encounter deck for this chapter. 1 to 2 players use all 1 and 2 cards. For 3 to 4 players use all 1, 2, and 3 cards. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, we're just going to add in the level 3 encounter cards. Yes. So we'll do that into the event decks. That means the events are going to get tougher. And then Guardian, 2 to 4 players, place the wide bear green encounter in the lowest numbered revealed location. Well, so that's interesting because that revealed location will go away. We'll have to deal with that as we go. Well, no, it won't. That'd be Kunok Village, right? I think is the lowest numbered revealed location. You're now ready to start chapter 2 of the Fall of Avalon. So let me get the event decks set up. Okay, so remember, we still have the rest of our day phase to wrap up, even though we completed that quest. We'll see what the new quest says. That may change that, but right now it doesn't. However, we do have a Guardian out. You can see this. This says G. It's the weird bear. It says after this brown bear found a feeding ground in the weirdness. It didn't take long for him to change. He's really nasty. He's got 8 health. And look at, he can do a lot of damage. Plus he's got, his opportunity attack is 1 unavoidable damage. And if we loot him, we get 2 food. I'm not sure that I want to be eating his food, but here is the beautiful Sundrop miniature for the weird bear. Pretty darn cool, right? Yeah. He's pretty special. I don't know if am I sure that's the right one? It looks like it is. It says it's a weird bear. He's got that weird harness on him and everything, and stuff sticking out of him. So I'm assuming that's the right miniature. It looks like it. But anyway, let's move on, because now we have to finish this the one final step in the setup, which is to read the top card of our event deck. It says further from home. 1. Place this card on top of the active quest pile. The island opens up before you with its countless trails and possibilities. As you walk on, you realize it's been a long time since you wandered this far from home. What should you do now? Place a random event on top of the deck. Okay. And there's a quest. Complete one of the following. Investigate the fate of the first expedition. Find its trail in the west. Okay. Reach Camelot, 190 in the east, and obtain help from its ruler. Explore the island and find a different way to progress in the story. Okay, so there's 3 ways we can complete that quest. That is the top of the quest pile right now, not the top of the event pile, so it doesn't change anything that we're doing. That means this card gets discarded. We'll just put that aside. I'll keep it out for reference's sake. But we have a lot of things we have to do because we have to reveal a whole bunch of new locations. So I'm gonna pull the map down just a little bit. Well, now that we have gotten that Menhir around us, we have opened up the world quite a bit for ourselves. This is going to shrink down again because this Menhir is going to go away at the end of the turn. But we have introduced just north of the Hunter's Grove, the Mirror's Lake is now no longer in the weirdness. And it says, as 0 action, you can rest by the lake. You gain 1 health. Oh, wow, that's really powerful. That's great. As if a piece of the sky fell to the earth, you wonder if she is still lurking in the cold depths. Remember, there was a lady that came out of the water. We'll have to explore that location. Next door to that, and just north of the Whitening, is the Tanglewood. It has an action there to gather food, gain 2 food, and draw 1 green encounter, very similar to the Hunter's Grove. For many years, travelers worked to turn this overgrown gorge into a trail. Despite their efforts, it is still a confusing maze. That is right there. Then up here we have Titan's Steps. Looks like a big, like a plateau. Explore when you enter this location. This exploration is free. This is similar to the Grubwood. On their way to Camelot, pilgrims used to leave rocks under one of the cliffs. Today, ramps of pebbles make the journey faster, though not much safer. Then over here, right next to the Whitening, we have the first farmhold. It looks like a not a farm location yet, but it says draw a purple encounter when you enter this location once per day. The first farmhold of Avalon's conquerors, now ruined and abandoned like its Menhir. Okay. And then right down here we have the derelict fleet. It looks like there's a big giant tree there of some kind. It's really interesting looking, and it says we can scour the wrecks for 4 energy. We gain a terror, 1 magic, and 1 experience once per day. Many a ship once carried eager men to Avalon. Now they all rest here. And so those are the new areas we have opened up in our journey. Now, let's continue on. All of us have spent an action so far, so we got plenty of things that we can do. Well, we need food, right? So there's 2 characters without food and 1 with only a couple of food. So I think what we're going to do immediately is head north to the Tanglewood and see, because we can gather food there for a green encounter. And while I don't like fighting more green encounters, it's better than a sharp stick in the eye. And we can we can get some more food while we're there. So I think that we're going to have first Bior and Aaliyah are going to travel there. That'll end Bior's action. However, Aaliyah will have enough to have them investigate the Tanglewood. So Aaliyah and Bior, who spend quite a bit of time together, are going to travel up to the Tangle route, which is going to cost them each an energy. That puts Bior at 2 and Aaliyah at 3. And I think with a Rev, since we've just fueled that that Menhir, what will we do? Let's see. I think he will. Now you can't get to the derelict fleet without going around the first farmhold, but those steps are really interesting too. I think a Rev, he's going to be out of energy when he moves. So I think that what we'll do with him is he still has some wealth. Do I keep his wealth for this creature here, or do I get more food for him? He's got 2 food left. I think what we'll do, there's no reason to explore there at this point. And if I move over to the first farmhold, we'll have to draw a purple encounter. That's probably not his strongest thing to do. Well, it could be, I suppose. I don't know. I don't know. I don't remember what the purple encounters are exactly. We could also head to Mirror Lake with him. And we could move him over to Hunter's Grove. He wouldn't have to fight anything there. Then he could move up to Mirror Lake the next turn. Why don't we do that? So for his action, he's going to move over to Hunter's Grove where he can next turn hunt some food. That'll put him down to 2. I don't want anybody to get exhausted, so that is actually going to end our day actions. Okay, let's move on to the end of day since we've activated everybody. Well, Aaliyah has one more energy. I think we're going to have her explore the Tanglewood. So let's get that. This location 114. She'll spend the last of her energy, and we're going to explore the Tanglewood as a party, her and Bior. Just requires 1 energy, and she spent it. Okay, here is the Tanglewood. The oldest and largest forest of Avalon is split in half by a deep gorge. Roots of enormous trees burst out of its slopes and turn the trail from the south to the north of the island into a dangerous maze. Wooden planks, suspended bridges, and lanterns tended by the sworn brotherhood of trail keepers make this road only slightly more manageable. As you enter, you hear human shouts and animal cries echoing deep in the gorge. Delve into the... These are things we can do. We can delve into the gorge. We can visit the Trail Keeper's Lodge. We can pay our respects. Requires Arev and Fail's Legacy, which we don't have. So why don't we visit the Trail Keeper's Lodge and try and do something that's not going to be so hazardous to us. Let's do that. So first they're going to visit the Trail Keeper's Lodge, which is entry number 5. Okay, you find the lodge sitting on top of the bluff's overlooking the gorge. You ascend a flight of stairs cut into the side of the canyon. If there is a time token in this location, there is not. The lodge is empty. Exploration ends. If you have part 2 of the Tangleroot knowledge status, the Trail Keepers cannot help you. No, we don't. Otherwise, if you have at least 1... What is that? 1 caution. We do. Both... so who's there? Bior and Aaliyah. Both of them have 1 caution. Okay. Or part 1 of the Tanglewood knowledge, go to verse 9. If you don't, go to verse 1. So we do. We can go to verse 9. So we have some caution. We're not completely ready to ramble on into the darkness. That's not correct. Well, I got to flip the page. 9. This is it right here. Okay, number 9. After a moment of thought, you disappear in the thick forest circling around the lodge and make your way through the back entrance. The lodge keepers wait in ambush around the main door, armed and patient. You realize if you attack now, they will be completely surprised. Well, I do have empathy. Aaliyah has 2 empathy. I can convince them they've lost their way. Requires 2 empathy or 2 spirituality, but I do have 2 empathy. Do I try to convince them or do I ambush them? Arev is a soldier. He would like to ambush him, but Aaliyah, she's had a rough time in fights. I'm not sure if she's ready to ambush these guys. I don't know that we can convince him, but as Arev starts to go into the lodge, prepared for battle, Aaliyah puts her hand on his arm and says, wait, let's try and talk to them first. So now let's see if I can read these right. Okay, now, this shows the skull going this way, straight up, which is a 1. Now I realize that. And then 1 over, like that. I believe that's correct. That looks correct. That would be 318. 383. Yeah. 8 or 1, 8. 318. Let's see if that works for us. All right, 318 it is. Okay, guys, here is 318. You learn the trail keepers were attacking travelers out of hunger and desperation. For a long while, not one shipment came from farmholds that were supposed to provide upkeep for the trail. Thanks to your efforts, the keepers realize that they've let the trail become more important than the people traveling it. As a thank you, they share with their many secrets of the gorge. That gave both of them another experience. That puts Bior up at 5 experience and Aaliyah at 3. And then also, I've already done this because it didn't film correctly, so I refilmed this a little bit. We were able to get Tangleroot knowledge, the part 2 of Tangleroot knowledge, which is right there. So that is going to end our exploration phase because it says then end exploration. Exploration ends. Then we're going to go to our end of day phase. So let's do that. Okay, this is going to be an interesting end of day phase because there's going to be some changes here. Okay. End of day. Well, we're going to rest and consume food. Uh-oh. Oh man, I remembered what we were going to do up there. We totally botched that. We explored instead of... Oh man, we're going to have 2 exhausted people in the next round. That is so bad for us. Okay, well let's go do that and show you what's going to happen. We'll start with a Rev. He's easy. He is going to consume a food, which means that he's going to heal 1, and his energy is going to go up to 6. Okay. Now, here's the problem. If you don't have enough food, drop your energy to 0. If it's already at 0, lose a health instead. Okay. So, we drop to 0. Let me go to there. And we're probably going to have to deal with a couple of bad things. So, the first thing is that her energy drops to 0, and his does too, but he has a festering wound, and this means that he becomes exhausted, drops to 0. I think that is exactly when this happens, or maybe it happens during the action phase. I don't know. If you are exhausted, which she is, so he's going to get a festering wound and lose another health. That bites, and then we're only going to get 4 energy back. So, man, that was bad. We're going to have to definitely spend all our energy getting a lot of food. Food is plaguing us, guys. Okay. Advance your character. And so basically we did that part. Okay. Not a problem. Now, I'm thinking about advancing our character. Now, the problem is I don't think that we can... Bjork's got 5 experience points, but I think he needs another one to do what I want, which is to continue. He's got 2 aggression, so I think he needs 6 to get the level of empathy. Or I could do 1 courage now and get him another courage. Let me look at the book and see. But right now we're at the stage in the end of day where we can advance our characters by spending experience. Yeah, Bjork's going to need 6, and I think Aaliyah, she wants to go up in spirituality, I believe, and that would require... She's got 1, so right now 2 experience for your first point. She needs 1 more experience as well, so we're going to hold on to our experience. We're not going to go up in anything yet, and neither is a Rev. Okay, advance your character by spending experience. Okay, if you're in a location with a dream symbol, they both are, but we know that the Hunter's Grove is going... We already have that mark, so we're not going to bother reading that, but we will look at the one in the Tanglewood Grove. Nobody's insane or anything like that, so... well, not Tanglewood Grove, but just the Tanglewood. Let's look at that as a location 114. So in hindsight, we didn't actually have the energy to get the food from there anyway, because by the time we got there, Aaliyah only had 1. So they're just going to have to collect some serious food. They might do that twice this turn to make sure we're not going to have this problem again, because we keep running into food issues. Okay, dream. You dream about the roots of the giant tree. Digging deep into the black oily soil, you dream about nutrients and pure waters sucked from under the surface of the forest. You wake up strangely invigorated. Each character who has this dream gains 1 energy. Well, that's good. That puts Bjork at 5 and Aaliyah at 5 instead of 4 and 4. That actually worked out rather nicely. Okay, so even though they're exhausted and it caused Bjork to gain a wound and they didn't heal anything, they're still in a better place than they were. Well, we got to do some things there. Okay. That is the end of that. Let's keep going. Alright, that's the only dream. It says if you were going insane, read the nightmare. We're not doing that. And then we go to start of day, stage 1. So we're just going to do that in the next episode, guys. Start of our new day. As the new day dawns, the map is going to change because this Menhir is going to fade away. And I got to remember what you do with Guardians when they're... I think they go into the next lowest space, so I think he would just move in with the Rev, which is not necessarily a good thing. Though, if anybody can beat this guy, it's going to be him. Yeah. We'll see. And anyway, he's a lot bigger than a Rev. Such a cool miniature, right? There are more cool miniatures to be seen. So I hope you're enjoying this playthrough. I hope you're enjoying our continued play of Tainted Grail. Please like, share, and subscribe, all that good stuff. I really appreciate it. And I will see you in the next episode. Take care, and I'll see you soon.